Greetings from Yankee Springs. I'm here at Gun Lake in Michigan, just outside my home. I'm Scott, and I am here today to begin our discussion about water. Exciting, right? Maybe not the kind of thing you talk about at your tables, but I guess when you think about it, really what's so important about it, right? Apart from the fact that, it gives life to the trees that give us the oxygen we breathe, or that it sustains the animals and plants that we eat for nourishment, or the fact that we ourselves are just kind of big, walking, talking bags of water. Really, what's so big about that? What's the importance of that, huh? Well, actually, it's very important. When you think about the four elements, earth, wind, fire, water, probably the top of the list. And so Merlin, we're going to explore it. We're going to take a look specifically at the waterways of America. We're going to see how water is kind of used by us and what kind of shape it's in. We're going to take a good look at it. Now, you may be asking yourselves, why should I listen to you? Why should we be listening to these Merlin people anyways, right? Our country's a little bit messed up at the moment as far as that kind of stuff is concerned. We're polarized. We're at one end or the other, and we're throwing rocks and words at each other, and we're not listening to a thing that anybody else says. Well, the reason I want to talk to you today is because I want to kind of make a vow to you. The state of the world kind of reminds me of a story that I teach my students at school. Once upon a time, there was a blind man, and he wanted to know what the sun was, and so he started asking the people around him. Now, one person said, "Oh, well, the sun is like this big copper plate." And so the blind man took his stick and he tapped the plate, and you heard the ding, 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 ding. And then a bell went off across the town. The blind man said, "Oh, ho, ha, that's the sun." Another person said, No. The sun is like this candlestick, and it's got a fire at the end that lights the world." And so the blind man reached out and he touched the candlestick. Something occurred to him. He reached into his bag and he pulled out a flute. And he played on the flute a little bit and he said, "Ha ha, this is the sun." Blind man sounds kind of silly, right? Well, the allegory that I just told you, the purpose of that story is actually, it's a story about truth, not just about a blind man trying to find the sun, but it's about truth and how we find the truth and how we understand the truth. And the point is, so long as you go to subjective truths, like the person who thought it was a copper plate or the person who thought it was a candlestick, you're not ever going to truly understand the thing that you're trying to understand. You see, it takes both points. It takes your own perspective. It takes all of those things combined to understand the truth. And the truth is an objective thing and not a subjective thing. And so that's, I guess, the point of me today, talking to you, introducing myself, is I want to make a vow to you. And that vow is this. At the Voyages of Merlin, we're going to explore all that stuff that we talked about. We're going to be looking at water in all those different ways. But I want you to understand that whatever we find, we will tell you about objectively. If I could paraphrase Thoreau, if we find stuff that's great, well, we're going to tell you about just how great and wonderful it is. And on occasions that we find things that maybe aren't so great, well, we're going to tell you about that stuff too. You're going to hear about the whole spectrum, the whole perspective, both sides, and there will be in the middle, objectively opening up the conversation and welcoming you to join us into that talk. All right, speaking of talk, I'm talking too much, so I'm going to say goodbye right now. So, thank you for joining me for round one. My name is Scott Mellema, and I am with the Voyages of the Merlin, and we will talk soon.